Michael. That's awesome. And 14-step listing presentation. Step number 1. I'm going to move a little slower through these today because we are all the way up to step number 14, which is close. And the close is nothing more than a natural conclusion to an effective presentation. So where we're going to get into a conversation today is with your objections and how we handle those. So if you have closing objections or you've dealt with some tough ones, go ahead and write them down and let's get ready to overcome objections and close. All right, step number 1, phone interview. The day before the appointment, I'm going to give you a call, Michael. I'm going to ask you some questions that'll help me better prepare for our appointment tomorrow at 4. Script. By the way, your competition isn't doing that. So from the very first step, you are demonstrating that you care about them, they can trust you, and you know what you're doing. You're also demonstrating that you're a professional. Step number 2, prepare your CMA and your supply and demand analysis. You're going to pull every single property that is sold in the neighborhood, whether it's comparable or not. And then you're also going to do a supply and demand analysis and up to 3 price ranges. And depending on the price of the home, those price ranges most of the time are going to be in $50,000 increments. For example, 450 to 5, 550, 5 to 550, and 550 to 6. Now, if I get up above $1 million, I might do a price range of $100,000. In other words, $1 million to $1,100,000, $1,100,000 to $1,200,000, and so on and so on and so on. And if you're looking at a $4 million property, you might do a price range search of up to $250,000. So 9 out of 10 times, $50,000 increments. All right, step number 3, confirm the appointment and trial close. So on the day of the appointment, I'm calling Vil. Hey, Vil, John Dietz, Keller Williams Realty, confirming our appointment for later today at 4 o'clock. Vil says, absolutely. Cool. Looking forward to seeing you at 4. Hey, by the way, before I let you go, just curious, when we get together at 4 o'clock today, are you going to be ready to put your home on the market? And Vil says, yes. My response is, awesome. See you at 4. Vil says, no. My response is, awesome. See you at 4 o'clock. It doesn't matter. I'm just checking to see if they're ready. That way I know that I'm going to go get the listing. By the way, if he says no, I'm still going to go get the listing. I just have a little bit more work to do. All right. Step number 4, get on the listing channel. And that's all about your mindset. So leave early so that you're not rushing to get there because that'll mess up your mindset. Turn your radio off. Don't listen to talk radio. By the way, you should never listen to talk radio. Don't answer your phone. Might be somebody calling you to complain. And that certainly isn't going to help with your mindset. So don't answer your phone. Practice and role play your scripts. Repeat your affirmations and visualize the end result. In other words, visualize you going through the house, doing an incredible job, delivering an amazing presentation, overcoming all of their objections, and closing with ease. All right. Step number 5, Kodak moment. That's your first impression at the front door. If your appointment's at 4 o'clock, you're going to knock on the door at 4 o'clock sharp. When Vicki answers the door, hi, Vicki, I'm John Dietz with Keller Williams Realty. We had an appointment for 4 o'clock, and it's 4 o'clock. May I come in? Perfect. The moment you step in the front door, wow, you have a beautiful home, and I'm so excited to be here. Hey, by the way, Alex, before I go any further, would you like me to take my shoes off, or are they okay? Cool. I'd like to set my things down at the kitchen table, and then, if you would, please, I want you to take me on a tour of your home. I'm going to take lots of notes. I'm going to ask lots of questions because this is the information I'm going to use to help you sell your home. Script. All right. Arrive back at the kitchen table. Ask them where they would like you to sit. Sit down, make sure you can see both parties, both sellers, and begin the conversation. Michael, it's such an honor to be here today. It's always a privilege to discuss the possibility of the Dietz team representing someone in the sale of their home. Before I begin, I'd like to share my mission statement with you. Would that be okay? Cool. All right. Once you've gone through what's going to happen today. Either they're going to hire you, which is awesome, or they're not going to hire you, which is not so awesome, or you may choose to turn down the listing if they have a goal or an expectation you cannot meet or exceed. You're setting expectations. You're going to do a needs analysis in order to determine if you can meet their goals and exceed their expectations. And remember, go 3 deep. This is not a time to overcome objections. This is not a time to get into a conversation. This is just a time to be a detective and collect information and go 3 deep. Step number 9, prioritizing needs. If we can nail one of these goals and barely miss the other 2, what's number 1? If we can hit 2 of these goals and miss the 3rd, what's the second most important goal? Step number 10, trial close. If I were able to demonstrate today, Michelle, that I'm the right agent for the job in order to get your goals accomplished, are you ready to hire me today? Trial close. Cool. If Michelle says yes, awesome, let's get started. If Michelle says, I don't know, awesome, let's get started. She says no. Awesome, let's get started. It doesn't matter. All right, step number 11, satisfy their needs and exceed their expectations. This is where you're gonna tell them what you do to get your property sold, your marketing plan, how you're going to service their listing. This is where you demonstrate your unique value proposition. You're gonna separate yourself from the competition. And 12, review the CMA. You're going to go deep into all the properties that have sold in their neighborhood that are comparable. You're looking for at least 3 properties that are comparable to their home. You're looking for a high to a low in price range for properties that are comparable to their home, so that you're able to give them a price range where their home is going to sell. And then step number 13, you're going to review the supply and demand analysis in order to determine what's the right strategy in order to get their home sold. In other words, if the price range is somewhere from $580 to $620, we have 2 very different markets that we can market their home in. We have 2 very different ponds that we can go fishing in. So 550 to 6 and 6 to 650, which is the best strategy in order to get their home sold? Now, once you've shown them all the comparables and you've gone through a supply and demand analysis, the next question is, and I need somebody to role play with me on this. The next question is, based on the information that I've showed you today, where do you believe we should price your home in order to get it sold in the next 30 days so that you could be in Atlanta 60 days from now with your family?
620, John.
620? Cool. So Michael, I'm looking at the comparables and I'm also looking at the supply and demand analysis. And I think 620 is okay, but here's what concerns me about that. When we looked at the supply and demand analysis from 6 to 650, there was a 4-month supply of inventory. There were 24 homes for sale, so you're competing against 24 homes, and there's 6 selling every 30 days. Now from 550 to 6, there's only a 2-month supply of inventory. There's 18 homes for sale, and 9 are selling every 30 days. And in which one of those markets do you have the best chance of being the shining star? In other words, if you're competing, do you have a better chance of beating the competition 550 to 600 or 6 to 650?
Probably better between that 550 to 600 price point. But
Okay.
What if I wanted to see if we can get more money, John?
Sure. And if we put your home on the market for 620 and we had an offer 2 weeks from now for 595, what would you do?
It's close, but it's not what we want. I think our bottom line number would probably be around 600, John.
600? Okay. And if the market rejects 600, what's plan B?
Oh, we have to sell the house, John.
Okay. And if the market says the highest price you're going to get is $595, what would you do?
If it's been some time on the market, then at that point we would probably take it.
Okay. And what's more important, 610 or being in Atlanta 60 days from now with your family?
Obviously, being in Atlanta.
Okay. And the market is telling us that the right price range is somewhere between 590 and 6. I mean, you looked at the data with me. You know, we can look at it again and tell me where you see 620, because I don't see it.
I just feel like some of my houses, like you had mentioned, my house would be the shining star at 550 to 600.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like maybe I could push the envelope a little bit.
So if you were a buyer, Michael, and you were looking at properties between 6 and 650, and let's assume that there are sellers in that price range. By the way, it's a pretty safe assumption. Let's assume that there are sellers in that price range who are motivated, who have to sell their home, and they're priced correctly between 6 and 625. And there's 6 selling every 30 days out of 24. You've got to be one of the top 6 properties. Now, if you were the buyer looking in that price range, would your home be one of the top 6 properties?
I don't know, John. You tell me.
Well, is it possible that they're the properties that are priced from 6 to 650 are a little bit newer, a little bit bigger, a little bit more updated?
Sure.
So looking at the properties from 550 to 600, are you going to beat the competition in that price range? Remember, there's 9 homes selling in that price range. There's 18 for sale. In order to be the shining star, in order to sell your home, you've got to be one of the top 9 properties. And do you have a really good chance of beating the competition from 550 to 600?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think you're going to crush them. Absolutely. And if you had an offer today for $595,000, what would you do?
You just circled back to the same question.
Let me ask you a different question. If you had to choose between selling your home for $595,000 in the next 30 days or still being in your home 6 months from now and possibly looking at less, which would you choose?
Selling it now.
What if the interest rates went up? And we started at 620 and you're still here 6 months from now, and not only has the market shifted, prices have come down, interest rates have gone up. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that wouldn't be very good.
Yeah. You see, my concern for you, my concern for you is not that you're going to get less money for your home than you want. My concern for you is you're still going to be here 6 months from now, and it'll even be less then.
I got a question.
Hold on one second. This pause is on purpose. I'm icing Mike. So Michael, what should we do?
Then let's put it on the market for 600, John, and let's see if we can get every dollar of it.
Awesome. Are you ready to get started?
Let's go.
Okay. By the way, are you ready to get started is the close. That's step 14, right? It doesn't have to be some cool, really hip close.
Yeah, no.
That's the close. Are you ready to get started? Now, are there more closes than that? Oh yeah, of course there are. And I'll teach them to you before we're finished here. And are you ready to get started? Michael says yes. Now, by the way, what if he would have said, I don't know? And Frank, I haven't forgotten about you. If he would have said, I don't know, the follow-up is, cool. Just curious, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being you don't like a thing I said, you can't wait for me to leave, And 10 being, I'm the right agent for the job. Where are we, Michael?
John, I really think you're knowledgeable and you know what you're doing. I think you're an 8 or a 9.
Okay, so is it an 8 or is it a 9?
We'll call it a 9, John.
Awesome. Michael, what would it take to make it a 10 today?
Right. And then that just draws out the next objection.
There you go. Thank you, Michael. You did a great job. Okay, Frank, talk to me. Frank, did you get
Okay, John.
go
So
away?
no,
Okay.
no, John. So say we take it to a different route to a different seller.
Okay.
The seller is an older seller, doesn't need to sell, and tells you they want to sell, but only if they can get what they're looking for, and they're not in a rush. Give it to me.
Frank, if you knew your home was going to sell for more money in 30 days than it would in 6 months, would you be in a rush now?
I mean, yes, but I'm also got to take into consideration finding what I'm looking for when I downsize, John. I'm also got to find what I'm looking for to stay in the budget. So it's kind of like a two-way road for me.
Yep, I completely understand. And what I'm hearing you say is you want to price your home at a price that is maybe above the market, and it's okay if it takes a while because you're not in a hurry. Is that correct?
Well, not really, John. I just been looking at some of the closed sales in the neighborhood lately, and I know that my house is better than the one that sold 3 doors down because I have impact windows, a newer roof. I've also redone the floors. It didn't kind of look like they did the floors too much over there. And I don't think that he got what he was looking for. And I know my house is worth more. So I'm just having a hard time understanding whether I'm going to get what I'm looking for. John, do you think that's even possible?
I don't know. So what did the house down the street sell for?
It sold for $400. I believe my home's worth at least $450 with the updates that I've done. Also, my lot's the biggest one in the whole community.
Love that. So, Frank, this is a really long conversation, by the way. I could be at your kitchen table for 45 minutes with this conversation, just so you know. And we don't have 45 minutes on this call. Here's the bottom line. I'm just going to be a high D for you. And that just means I'm going to get to the point. A larger lot means a little. It doesn't mean a lot. No pun intended. If I'm on,
But if the lot's larger by like 1,500 square feet, it's going to hold a little bit of value.
Yeah, a couple $1,000s.
And in the eyes of the buyer.
A couple $1,000.
Maybe not value wise, but to the actual value of the buyer for property size.
Okay, a couple $1,000. Now, I'm just going to give you an example of what I mean by that, okay? If I'm on double lots, in other words, I'm in a neighborhood and I own 2 lots, and the lots sold for $150,000. I'm picking prices from the air, okay? And I bought 2 lots because I want my home to be on a larger lot. The lot next to me is not, the additional lot does not add $150,000 value to my home. Not unless I'm going to sell it to somebody who's going to build a house on it. Unless you're building a house on that lot, it's not worth $150,000. It might add $10,000 to $15,000 in value to your home. It might. It depends on the market. And in this particular price range, you're going to have sellers who, in this situation, the high D response might be you're better off turning down the opportunity and walking away than letting them down later. Because if the market says, not what the seller says, if the market says the right value for the home is $420-ish, the last home sold for $420, his home's nicer, great. So he could probably get maybe $430 or $440, maybe. And he wants to list his property for $460 or $470. If the market says it's not going to sell at that price, I would rather turn the opportunity down than let him down. Now, by the way, if the last home sold for $420 and the inventory is less than 30 days and he wants to list his property at $450, I would take that listing. That's close enough that he has a chance of getting an offer that he could sell his home. We're close. By the way, Frank, I'm more than happy. My phone number is
I was going to say, John, I think
727-68.
this is a conversation we would probably have to have a little more in depth.
Yeah, 727-686-0404. Email johndietz@kw.com. I am more than glad to have an hour-long conversation with you on this because that's what it is. All
You're
right.
the best.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Of course. Next, guys.
John, someone had put in the chat, what if their response or the objection is, we want to think about it?
Yeah. So cool. We've been sitting at your kitchen table for about an hour, Michael. I'm sure I've gotten a few phone calls and maybe some text messages and emails. Why don't I go out to my car and I'll return some phone calls and emails, give you time to think about it, and come out and get me when you're done.
John, I really think we need to take a night or so to kind of think about it.
Okay, so you want to sleep on it.
Yeah.
Cool. Which bedroom am I sleeping in?
You're funny, John.
All right, so Michael, curiosity, just curious. And I can appreciate the fact that you want to sleep on this. That's awesome. If I were to come back and meet with you in 2 days, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're ready to hire me, where are we at 2 days from now?
Yeah. Probably closer to a 10, John.
Sure. So why don't we just go ahead and do this? I'm looking at my calendar and I can meet with you Friday at 11 a.m. or would 1 p.m. be better for you?
No, the morning is better, John.
11 a.m. So I'll come back. We'll get your house on the market Friday morning at 11.
Perfect.
Got it. All right. What else, guys?
Hey, John, why
Yes.
2 days, not 1 day?
Well, he said he needed a couple days. And D, that's a great question. I could come back tomorrow, 100%. Yeah. I like 1 day better than 2 days, by the way. Yeah. Great.
Hey, John,
Talk to me, Tamika.
could you throw in the script? Well, we can also fill out the listing agreement, and in 2 days, if you're a no, I'll just rip up the listing agreement and we'll part our ways.
Yeah, so Tamika, in order to get your home on the market, we're going to have to get together again in order to fill out the paperwork, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and I'm here now. So just a suggestion, why don't we go ahead and fill it out today? That way we don't have to meet again in 2 days from now. I'll hold it for 2 days. You call me in 2 days and say you're ready to go and I'll get started. Now, if you change your mind, I'll tear it up and throw it away.
Like that one.
Okay. Yeah.
John, another good objection came up in the chat about I'm going to interview a few other agents.
Yeah, so Michael, if I'm a 10 today, if you were to make a decision today, your decision would be to hire me, then chances are pretty good that you're still going to want to hire me 2-3 days from now after you've had additional interviews. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, he could say no to that, guys. And can I share with you why you would actually be doing those other agents a favor if you were to cancel those appointments?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you see, I spent at least 2 to 3 hours preparing for this appointment, and I've been at your home for over 2 hours. And if you meet with additional agents, you have 2 interviews tomorrow, right? If you meet with those agents and you end up hiring me anyways, you're not exactly winning them over as an advocate, as someone who's excited about selling your home. If I were to call them and let them know that you've hired me and that we're not going to put your home on the MLS for another week, which gives them a week to bring us a buyer, so it's exclusive to them to bring us a buyer during that week, you're actually doing them a favor because they can spend that time that they would have spent trying to earn your listing. They could spend that time with someone who will hire them.
One more question, John, if you got a second.
You go. Yep.
Say you get through the whole presentation, the person's ready to hire you. John, everything sounds great, but I really only want to sign a 30 30-day exclusive with you. Now, you know that it's going to take 6 to 12 months to get this property sold. How are you handling that, John?
So Frank, that's not a problem. My listing is 1 day.
Tell me more about that, John.
Cool. So that's exactly what I wanted Frank to say. So my listing agreement is 100% satisfaction guarantee, which means you can cancel at any time with no fee and no stipulation. So you're not locked in for any period of time, not even 30 days.
Cool.
You ready to get started? That's a
Yeah,
yes.
sounds good, John. I guess so.
Guys, nobody's hitting me with
John.
commission objections. Come on, seriously. I don't want to pay 6%. Somebody.
I don't want to pay 6%.
Thank you, Michelle. So if I were willing to list your house for 5% today, would you hire me?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, cool. Can I share with you why that concerns me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you see, when somebody asks me if my fee is negotiable, I'm also hearing them ask how good of a negotiator I am. And the good news for you is I'm a really good negotiator.
Well, that
You
sounds
see it? Yeah, right? I mean, do you want to hire a good negotiator or somebody who's horrible at negotiation?
well, a good negotiator, of course.
Yeah, yeah. And if a real estate agent is telling you that they're willing to give away their money that they use to support their family, how good of a negotiator are they?
Well, not so great, I guess.
Yeah, and if they're willing to give away their money that easily, how quickly will they give up your money when there's an offer on your home?
Well, I guess pretty quickly, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and if I were able to get a price above the asking price, then my commission really isn't that important, is it?
No, how are you going to be able to guarantee me a price above the listing price?
So here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm guaranteeing a price. What I'm saying is that my fee is negotiable
Okay.
when we have an offer on your home.
Oh, okay, great.
If I need to give up money in order to make the deal work, I will, because I'm a deal maker, not a deal breaker. And my point here is you want to hire somebody at a discount because you want to net more money. So as long as you're netting more money, then the fee really doesn't matter, does it?
No, that's a good way to look at it.
Okay, that's from Tom Hopkins, guys, and that's change your base.
I like that.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Can I throw one more, John? We have time.
Yeah, go, please.
So John, Frank, the other agent that I interviewed said he'll take a 45 or 60-day listing agreement, and you're asking for 6 months. How come you can't take that time frame?
So my listing agreement is actually 1 day because you can cancel anytime with no fee and no stipulation. So you're not even locked in for 45 days. So when you're actually looking at my listing agreement versus Frank's, mine is better because you can cancel tomorrow if you wanted to.
Got it. Thank you, John.
Yep. By the way, I did that with every single listing I took, whether they asked for it or not, because if I'm going to do that for you, and then I sell somebody else's house in the neighborhood, and they say, "Hey, did you get that guaranteed listing he offers?" And they say, "What guaranteed listing?" Right? So I did that for every single seller I took, and maybe 1 out of 20 would cancel. And that was in a market where there was 8 months, 10 months, 2 years of inventory.
100% agree, John. I do the same thing.
There you go.
Yeah, I do too. It's just powerful, right? It's like the dynamite on the close, right? It's something that I just kind of I pointed out to them on purpose, and it just completely adds another piece of value.
Why would you want somebody locked into an agreement who hates you?
Exactly.
Why would you want an angry seller that you won't let go?
Right.
That makes no sense.
It also
Zero.
comforts them. It makes them feel more comfortable with you, that they can trust you, that you're not going to hold their feet to the fire.
Yes. All right, guys, it's 9:03. It is
Hey,
time to
John.
get on the phone. Talk to me, whoever that was.
Just one quick question. So that means on the listing agreement, you just leave the dates blank.
Oh boy,
For-
I'm glad you asked that because that's not correct. So Miguel, no. you're gonna have a start date, which is the date that you take the listing, and then 6 months out. And I always ended my listings on the last day of the month, so my listings would end up being more than 6 months, by the way. And that way, I only have to watch for expired listings 1 day per month. And I know that's not an issue for you guys right now because the market's red hot. But when it shifts, it's something you're going to have to look at because we got extensions all the time when the market was not great. And what I'm saying, Miguel, is that I'm going to list the property for 6 months. However, in additional terms, I am going to write this listing is 100% satisfaction guaranteed. The seller can cancel anytime with no fee and no stipulation.
Got it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now the
Yeah.
conversation to the seller is, Miguel, the only thing I ask is if you feel I'm not meeting your goals and exceeding your expectations, give me an opportunity to fix it before you fire me. And if I can't fix what you're not happy about, then fire me.
That's awesome. That's really professional. I like that.
It is my pleasure. All right, guys, time to get on the phone. 20 conversations, not 19, not 18. A cake with 98% of the ingredients still sucks. So it's 20 conversations, not 18 or 19. Add at least one person to your database every single day. Hey, by the way, the purpose of the conversation is to get an appointment, get a referral. Don't do this. Get a referral or add somebody to your database. Once you've got them in your database, use Smart Plans. Holy cow, this is your secret sauce. This is your superpower that Gary Keller has given you. Use Smart Plans to stay in touch and create emotional proximity over time. Follow up forever. Speaking of creating emotional proximity over time, I'm never going to hire you. Awesome. Talk to you in a week. If I ever list my property, I'm hiring Mike. Awesome. Talk to you in a week. Follow up forever. Reject rejection. No is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. Write 5 handwritten personal notes today and make it a great day.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, stats 10 to 12, 10 to 12. Don't miss stats. Get on there.
You got it.
You got it.
Thanks, John.
You got
Thanks,
it.
John.